as Metlakatla people, strive to be Saitkurlam God, which means of one heart.
Since time immemorial, our Metlakatla people lived and thrived along the coast of what is now called northern British Columbia. Our proud Tsimshian ancestors governed every aspect of their own lives and managed our bountiful resources wisely and efficiently. While the land provided essential resources such as timber and wildlife, the sea has always been the heart and life of the Metlakatla people.
Our people harvested salmon, halibut, and many other sea resources in a responsible way. These rich natural sources of nutrients brought health and long life to our people.
Once European interests found their way to Tsimshian land, however, things changed drastically for our people. The Hudson Bay Company established the trading post of Fort Simpson at what is known today as Loch Williams or Port Simpson, which spurred the arrival of the missionaries. Already a highly spiritual people, many of our Tsimshian people converted to Christianity.
In 1862, Duncan convinced 70 Jimsen to move with him back to our ancient village of Metlakatla near present-day Prince Rupert, British Columbia. Over the years, the population of Metlakatla continued to grow until it reached 1,100 members. Our people lived communally in cedar longhouses with shared goods and responsibilities. Our totems kept our stories alive, and houses kept our family groups intact. The potlatches were a rich part of our culture, our economy, and our government. Our ancestors were happy to return to their traditional village site of Metlakatla. They believed that Father Duncan could provide a better future for them. Duncan's dream was to make Metlakatla a model Christian society. His autocratic rule demanded that converts conform to 15 laws of conduct, which required our people to abolish much of what identified us as Metlakatla people. We were no longer allowed to participate in our traditional dances or in our potlatches. We now lived in uniform housing, and our chiefs were replaced by companies, constables, and councillors. Our totems, along with our crafts, were either destroyed or sold. Canada struck the final nail when it banned potlatches under the Indian Act. Metlakatla is very proud that today there is a cultural resurgence among our people. Smalliach, the tongue of our ancestors, is being taught in the local school district. Carving is becoming a way of life once more. Many of our members are making their own traditional clothing that they now wear during our potlatches and ceremonies. The Metlakatla people traditionally lived on and used these lands for over 8,000 years. In the past, we allowed neighboring First Nations access on our land and waters in exchange for similar access onto their lands and waters. We continue to share portions of our lands and waters with the members of Loch Williams. Recent archaeological discoveries at ancient village sites found in and around our community and DNA evidence verifies that this land was inhabited by our ancestors for millennia.
The current village of Metlakatla sits upon about 3 ancient village sites. The village sites here are between 2,000 and 5,000 years old. They've taken ancient DNA from sites throughout the pass and throughout the Prince Rupert Harbor area. The DNA testing has shown that Metlakatla have been here for at least 8,000 years, but archaeological evidence shows that it's been much longer, closer to 9,000 years.
Right here is actually petroglyph with paint inside it. So it's got the face. It's almost like a sun shield or something like that. So it's the only one ever that they've ever recorded that has the actual petroglyph, the rock carving with painting in it. It's the only one.
Our control over our own lives and our environment became threatened, however, when British Columbia joined the Dominion of Canada in 1871 and took the stand that Aboriginal title did not exist. Canada refused to recognize our rights.
As a result of the reserve system imposed on us, the lands of the Metlakatla people were gradually reduced from 1,940,000 hectares to approximately 9,200 hectares. Missionaries, the Pacific Railway, homesteaders, and big business all wanted and took our lands for their own purposes. The harbor where Prince Rupert now sits was the core of Metlakatla territory, with over 100 village sites. Our traditional Tsimshian governance was complex, with hereditary chiefs who had hereditary rights and titles.
We have many hereditary chiefs that govern various areas of our traditional territory. Under each hereditary chief, there are houses and clans to which our members belonged. And the chief that hosted the most potlatches had the highest rank.
Legech, the most powerful Tsimshian chief, collected tariffs and maintained control of the Skeena River's trade. Today, beside Highway 16 by Tyee, we could see the ancient pictographs of a human face and traditional copper shields that symbolized his power and influence. His predecessor, also called Legech, converted to Anglicanism and moved to Metlakatla. He raised an eagle pole at Metlakatla and held a huge potlatch at which he distributed a great amount of wealth. When our people first resettled at Metlakatla, other attempts made by various members and chiefs to maintain our traditional government were quickly quashed by either the missionaries or the government.